In the not-so-distant future, Earth had become a melting pot of species from across the galaxy. Humans and aliens worked side by side, blending their knowledge and cultures to create a better world. In the heart of New Gaia, a city known for its technological advancements, Dr. Arin, a brilliant human scientist, and Xylar, a gifted alien engineer from the planet Xelor, collaborated on a project that promised to change the course of history. Dr. Arin was a middle-aged scientist with a passion for pushing the boundaries of science. His piercing blue eyes and silver hair gave him an aura of wisdom. Xylar, his trusted partner, had an enigmatic presence, with shimmering green skin and large expressive eyes that reflected a depth of intelligence. Together, they led a diverse team of humans and aliens, each member bringing unique skills to the table. Their project, known as the Genesis device, was a marvel of engineering, a technology capable of manipulating matter at the molecular level. With it, they could create anything from towering skyscrapers to advanced defensive weapons in mere seconds. The device had the potential to bring unprecedented prosperity to the galaxy, but it also held the power to bring about its destruction if misused. As the final touches were being made on the Genesis device, excitement buzzed through the lab. The team had worked tirelessly for years, and now they stood on the brink of success. However, amidst the celebration, a dark shadow loomed. Zarg, a cunning and ruthless leader of a rogue alien faction, had been secretly infiltrating their project. With a charismatic yet menacing demeanor, Zarg had managed to gain the trust of some team members, using deception and manipulation. On the eve of the device's completion, Zarg struck. Under the cover of night, Zarg and his loyal followers launched a swift and brutal attack on the lab. Alarms blared and chaos erupted as the team scrambled to protect their work. Despite their best efforts, Zarg's forces were overwhelming. With a calculated precision, Zarg made his way to the Genesis device, overpowering anyone who stood in his way. Dr. Arin watched in horror as Zarg activated the Genesis device, its power humming ominously. "This technology belongs to everyone!" Arin shouted, desperation in his voice. But Zarg only laughed, his eyes gleaming with greed and ambition. "Fools! You can't even begin to understand the true potential of this device," Zarg sneered. "With this power, I will rule the galaxy, and no one will be able to stop me." The team could only watch helplessly as Zarg and his minions fled with the Genesis device, leaving behind a trail of destruction. The lab, once a beacon of hope and innovation, was now in ruins. As the dust settled, Dr. Arin and Xylar stood amidst the wreckage, their faces etched with determination. "We can't let Zarg use the Genesis device for his evil plans," Xylar said, his voice steady despite the chaos around them. Arin nodded, his mind racing. "We need to gather our allies and track him down. The fate of the galaxy depends on us." With heavy hearts but unwavering resolve, the team set out on a mission to retrieve the Genesis device. They knew the road ahead would be fraught with danger, but they also knew they had no choice. The battle for the future had just begun. The morning sun cast a golden glow over New Gaia, but its light did little to lift the spirits of Dr. Arin and his team. They stood in the remnants of their once bustling lab, now a landscape of twisted metal and shattered glass. Determination replaced despair as they prepared to track down Zarg and reclaim the Genesis device. Their first lead pointed them towards the dense and perilous jungles of Xanthia, a planet known for its hostile environment and treacherous terrain. The journey would be grueling, but the team had no other choice. They needed to find Zarg before he could use the device for catastrophic purposes. As they prepared for the journey, a mysterious figure approached. Clad in a dark cloak, the figure moved with an eerie grace. "My name is Kira," she said, her voice calm yet firm. "I have information about Zarg's whereabouts. If you wish to stop him, you'll need my help." Dr. Arin and Xylar exchanged wary glances, but decided to trust her. They needed every bit of help they could get, and Kira seemed to have valuable knowledge. Her appearance, with strikingly sharp features and an air of enigma, suggested she had faced her share of battles. The journey through Xanthia's jungle was fraught with danger. the team encountered carnivorous plants that snapped at their heels and venomous creatures lurking in the shadows. Every step was a test of their endurance and resolve. Kira guided them with uncanny precision, avoiding traps and leading them along hidden paths. One night, as they set up camp, they heard rustling in the underbrush. Tensions ran high as the team prepared for an attack. Suddenly, a group of Zarg's scouts emerged, their eyes gleaming with malice. A fierce battle ensued, with the team using both human and alien technology to fend off their attackers. The fight was intense, but the team's unity and determination prevailed. After the last of the scouts fled into the jungle, the group took a moment to catch their breath. Dr. Arin looked around at his exhausted yet resolute companions. "We can't afford to let our guard down," he said. "Zarg's men will stop at nothing to protect him." Kira, who had fought valiantly alongside them, nodded in agreement. "We must stay focused. We're getting closer." As they continued their journey, Kira revealed more about Zarg's plans. He intends to use the Genesis device to create an army of indestructible warriors, she explained. He believes that with such power, he can conquer the galaxy. The weight of her words hung heavy in the air. The team quickened their pace, driven by the urgency of their mission. Every rustle in the jungle, every shadow, seemed to hold a new threat. They knew Zarg was likely aware of their pursuit and would be ready for them. One evening they stumbled upon a clearing with strange markings on the ground. Kira studied them closely. "This is a Zalorian distress signal," she said. "Zarg's base isn't far from here. We need to be prepared for anything." The team steeled themselves for the final leg of their journey. The jungle had tested their limits, but it had also strengthened their resolve. They were ready to face Zarg and whatever challenges lay ahead. The fate of the galaxy depended on their success. With renewed determination, they pressed on, their eyes fixed on the horizon where Zarg's hidden base awaited. The pursuit had begun, and there was no turning back. The team finally emerged from the dense jungle of Xanthia into a vast, desolate landscape marked by towering rock formations and a sky painted in hues of orange and purple. They knew they were close. Kira led them to a secluded cave entrance, partially concealed by the rocky terrain. "Zarg's hidden base is inside," she whispered, her voice barely audible over the howling wind. Inside the cave, the air was cold and damp, echoing with the distant sound of machinery. The team moved cautiously, their footsteps light on the uneven ground. The deeper they went, the more apparent it became that the cave was a front for a high-tech facility. Flickering lights and the hum of advanced technology indicated they were entering Zarg's domain. Suddenly the cave walls widened into a large, dimly lit chamber. Standing guard were Zarg's elite soldiers, heavily armed and ready for a fight. Dr. Arin signaled for silence as the team took cover behind the rock formations. They needed a plan to get past these guards without alerting the entire base. Kira scanned the chamber, her eyes locking onto a control panel near the far wall. "If we can disable that, it might cause a distraction," she suggested. Xylar nodded, pulling out a small portable EMP device from his pack. "I can get us close," he said, his voice steady. As Xylar and Kira moved stealthily towards the control panel, Dr. Arin and the others prepared to cover them. The tension in the air was palpable. The moment Xylar activated the EMP, a burst of electricity crackled through the air, plunging the chamber into darkness. The guards, momentarily blinded and confused, scrambled to restore power. Using the cover of darkness, the team launched their attack. Blaster fire lit up the chamber as they engaged Zarg's forces in a fierce battle. Dr. Arin's heart pounded in his chest as he fired his weapon. His mind focused solely on getting to the Genesis device. The stakes were higher than ever, and the cost of failure unthinkable. Kira moved with lethal grace, taking down guards with precision. Xylar, with his superior strength and agility, fought alongside her, their movements synchronized in a deadly dance. The rest of the team fought valiantly, their determination unyielding despite the overwhelming odds. As the dust settled and the last of the guards were subdued, Dr. Arin and his team pushed forward into the heart of the facility. They found themselves in a control room filled with advanced alien technology. In the center of the room stood the Genesis device, its power pulsing ominously. Before they could reach it, a door slid open, and Zarg stepped into the room, flanked by his top lieutenants. His eyes gleamed with triumph as he looked at Dr. Aaron. "You really think you can take this from me?" he sneered. "I've already activated the device. Soon my army will be unstoppable." The realization hit Dr. Aaron like a punch to the gut. They were too late. Zarg had activated the Genesis device. Desperation mingled with determination as he locked eyes with Zarg. "We won't let you use it to destroy the galaxy," Aaron declared, his voice unwavering. Zarg laughed, the sound echoing menacingly through the control room. "You don't understand the true power of this device, but you'll see soon enough." With the device active and Zarg poised to unleash its full potential, the team faced their greatest challenge yet. They knew they had to act quickly to prevent a catastrophe. The fate of countless lives hung in the balance, and failure was not an option. Dr. Aaron glanced at Kira and Xylar. "We need to find a way to shut it down," he said, his mind racing. "There has to be a weakness." As they began their search for a solution, Zarg and his lieutenants moved to stop them, setting the stage for a climactic confrontation. The team braced themselves for the battle ahead, their resolve stronger than ever. The first encounter had been brutal, but it was far from over. The real fight was just beginning. The control room hummed with the power of the activated Genesis device. Every second that ticked by brought Zarg closer to realizing his malevolent plans. Dr. Aaron, Kira, Xylar, and the rest of the team stood their ground, determined to find a way to neutralize the device before it was too late. As the confrontation escalated, the team fanned out, frantically searching the control room for any clue or vulnerability that could help them deactivate the Genesis device. The room was a maze of alien technology, with holographic displays and intricate control panels that glowed with an eerie light. Zarg's lieutenants, elite soldiers trained in combat and strategy, launched a coordinated attack against the team. Dr. Aaron and Xylar fought back fiercely, using their advanced weapons and quick thinking to hold their ground. Meanwhile, Kira, ever the strategist, focused on the control panels, looking for any sign of weakness. Amidst the chaos, Kira noticed something peculiar, a series of alien symbols on one of the main consoles. Her sharp eyes recognized them as Zalorian, a language she had studied during her training. "Aaron, Xylar, over here," she called out, her voice cutting through the noise of battle. Dr. Aaron and Xylar joined Kira at the console, their faces etched with a mix of hope and desperation. "What did you find?" Aaron asked, his breath coming in short bursts. Kira pointed to the symbols. "These markings, they indicate a secondary control system. I think we can use it to override the device's activation sequence." Dr. Aaron's eyes lit up with a glimmer of hope. "Can you decipher it?" Kira nodded, her fingers dancing over the console as she worked to decode the symbols. "I'll need a few minutes, but yes, I think I can shut it down." As Kira worked, Zarg's voice echoed through the control room. "You're wasting your time," he taunted. "The device is already linked to my neural interface. Only someone with a mind as advanced as mine can control it." Dr. Aaron's heart sank at Zarg's revelation. The Genesis device was designed to respond to the mental commands of its user. If Zarg's mind was the key, their task had just become infinitely more complex. But then, an idea sparked in Aaron's mind. "Kira, can you isolate the neural interface link?" he asked urgently. Kira glanced up, understanding dawning in her eyes. "If we can isolate it, we might be able to sever Zarg's connection and link it to someone else." Xylar's gaze sharpened with determination. "Who among us has the mental capacity to control the device?" Dr. Aaron hesitated for a moment before stepping forward. "I'll do it," he said firmly. "I've worked on this project from the beginning. If anyone can control it, it's me." The team exchanged a silent nod of agreement. Time was running out and they had to act quickly. Kira continued her work on the console, isolating the neural interface link as Dr. Aaron prepared himself mentally. With a final flurry of keystrokes, Kira completed the override. "It's ready," she said, her voice steady despite the tension in the air. "Aaron, place your hand on the interface panel." Dr. Aaron took a deep breath, and placed his hand on the glowing panel. A surge of energy coursed through him as his mind connected with the Genesis device. He could feel its immense power, a swirling maelstrom of potential just waiting to be unleashed. Zarg's furious roar echoed through the control room as he realized what was happening. "No, you can't control it, only I have the power." But Dr. Arin's mind was sharp and focused. He concentrated, channeling his thoughts to wrest control of the device from Zarg. It was a battle of wills, a mental struggle that pushed him to his limits. Sweat beaded on his forehead as he fought to master the device's power. Slowly, the hum of the Genesis device began to subside. Dr. Arin's willpower and intellect were proving to be a match for Zarg's. The connection severed and the device powered down, its threat neutralized. Exhausted but triumphant, Dr. Arin opened his eyes. "It's over," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "The device is deactivated." The team breathed a collective sigh of relief. They had faced insurmountable odds and emerged victorious. But the battle wasn't over yet. They still had to ensure Zarg was brought to justice, and the Genesis device was secured once and for all. The Genesis device had been deactivated, but the battle was far from over. Zarg, seething with rage, refused to accept defeat. His lieutenants, equally determined, regrouped for a final stand. The air in the control room was thick with tension as both sides prepared for the ultimate confrontation. The control room's holographic displays flickered, casting an eerie glow over the tense scene. Sparks flew from damaged equipment, and the hum of residual energy from the deactivated Genesis device added an ominous backdrop to the standoff. Zarg, with a sneer of defiance, activated his personal shield, ready to defend his claim to power. Dr. Arin, still feeling the strain of his mental battle with the Genesis device, stood tall. "We won't let you use this technology to destroy the galaxy," he declared, his voice filled with unwavering resolve. Zarg laughed, a cold, menacing sound. "You think you've won? This is far from over. I'll destroy you all and reclaim what's mine." With a signal from Zarg, his lieutenants launched a coordinated attack. Blaster fire erupted in the confined space, and the team responded with equal ferocity. Kira, with her combat expertise, took point, her movements fluid and precise as she deflected attacks and countered with deadly accuracy. The room became a battlefield, each moment a struggle for survival. Xylar fought alongside Dr. Arin, their combined efforts creating a formidable defense. The stakes were higher than ever, and the weight of the galaxy's future pressed heavily on their shoulders. Kira, darting through the chaos, locked eyes with Dr. Arin. "We can't let Zarg escape," she shouted over the noise. "We have to finish this here and now." Just as it seemed the battle could go either way, one of Zarg's lieutenants revealed a hidden weapon, a device capable of reactivating the Genesis device remotely. "Get to the Genesis device," Kira yelled, realizing the imminent threat. Dr. Arin and Xylar fought their way through the melee towards the device. Zarg, sensing their intent, moved to intercept them, his shield crackling with energy. The clash was brutal, each side driven by desperation and resolve. In a desperate bid to protect his friends, Xylar lunged at Zarg, using his immense strength to hold him back. "Go, Arin, stop the reactivation." Xylar's voice was strained, but his determination was unwavering. Dr. Arin reached the Genesis device just as the lieutenant attempted to activate it. With a surge of adrenaline, he tackled the lieutenant, wresting the remote control from his grasp. The two struggled, but Arin's resolve proved stronger. With a final effort, he smashed the remote, ensuring the device would remain inactive. Zarg, seeing his plans unraveling, roared in fury. With a burst of strength, he threw Xylar aside and charged at Dr. Arin. The two men collided, their struggle a desperate dance of survival. Dr. Arin, exhausted but fueled by a sense of justice, managed to outmaneuver Zarg, sending him crashing to the ground. As Zarg lay defeated, his lieutenants began to retreat, realizing their leader's downfall. The battle had been won, but the cost was high. The control room was a wreck, and the team was battered and bruised. Dr. Arin, breathing heavily, looked around at his team. Kira, Xylar, and the others stood victorious, though the weariness in their eyes was evident. "It's over," Arin said, his voice filled with relief and exhaustion. "We've done it." Kira approached Zarg, who lay immobilized on the ground. "You won't terrorize anyone again," she said coldly. securing him with energy restraints. The team gathered around the deactivated Genesis device, their victory bittersweet. The immediate threat had been neutralized, but the journey was not yet complete. They needed to return the Genesis device to safety and ensure it could never be used for evil again. Dr. Arin, despite his exhaustion, felt a sense of hope. They had faced insurmountable odds and emerged triumphant, proving that unity and determination could overcome even the greatest challenges. With Zarg in custody and the Genesis device secure, the team prepared for their journey back. The battle was over, but their mission to protect the galaxy continued. They had shown that together, humans and aliens could achieve the extraordinary, and this victory was just the beginning. The journey back to New Gaia was both a triumph and a reflection. The team, though battered and exhausted, carried with them the Genesis device, now securely contained. Zarg, bound and under heavy guard, was transported back to face justice for his crimes. The atmosphere on the return journey was a mix of relief, pride and contemplation. Upon their arrival, the team was greeted as heroes. New Gaia's central hub was abuzz with activity as news of their victory spread. The city, a testament to the cooperation between humans and aliens, stood as a beacon of hope and progress. As the team disembarked, they were met with cheers and applause from the gathered crowd. Despite their success, there were still challenges to address. The Genesis device, with its immense power, needed to be secured and studied to prevent any future misuse. Dr. Arin and Xylar knew that their work was far from over. They convened with the Intergalactic Council to discuss the next steps. In a grand hall filled with representatives from various species, Dr. Arin stood before the council. "We have recovered the Genesis device and neutralized the immediate threat," he began. "But we must ensure that this technology is used responsibly. We propose the formation of a dedicated research and oversight committee to study and regulate its use." The council members nodded in agreement, recognizing the importance of this precaution. The resolution was passed unanimously, and plans were set in motion to establish the committee. Later, in the privacy of their lab, the team reflected on their journey. Kira, who had proven to be an invaluable ally, spoke first. "We've accomplished something incredible," she said, her eyes reflecting a mix of pride and exhaustion. "But this is just the beginning. We need to stay vigilant." Xylar nodded, his usual stoic expression softened by a rare smile. "Our unity and determination brought us this far. We must continue to work together, not just for our sake, but for the future of all species." Dr. Arin, feeling the weight of their journey, placed a hand on Xylar's shoulder. "We couldn't have done it without each other. This mission has shown us that when we unite, we can overcome any obstacle." The team decided to take a moment to celebrate their victory. A small, private gathering was held in the lab, where they shared stories, laughter, and a renewed sense of camaraderie. The bonds they had forged during their mission were stronger than ever. As the evening wore on, Dr. Arin found himself gazing at the stars, his mind filled with thoughts of the future. Kira joined him, her presence a comforting reminder of their journey. "What do you think lies ahead?" she asked softly. Dr. Arin smiled, the weight of their achievements settling in. "I think we've proven that anything is possible. We've faced immense challenges and come out stronger. The future is what we make of it, and with allies like you and Xylar, I believe it's bright." With the Genesis device securely stored and Zarg awaiting trial, New Gaia slowly returned to its routine. The city's resilience was a testament to the spirit of cooperation and innovation that defined its inhabitants. Dr. Arin, Xylar, Kira and the rest of the team continued their work, now with the added responsibility of overseeing the Genesis device. They knew that vigilance was key, but they also embraced the hope that their unity had sparked. As they stood together, looking out over the city they had fought so hard to protect, a sense of peace and accomplishment settled over them. They had faced insurmountable odds and emerged victorious, not just as a team, but as a symbol of what could be achieved through unity and determination. And so their story continued, a testament to the power of collaboration and the enduring spirit of hope. The battle was over, but their mission to protect and innovate had only just begun.